forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie had the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Plus. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
Welcome to episode 7. It's on the top there. Episode number 7 of The Take with Willie and Ian. I am joined, as always, by, well, it's a very special day tomorrow, William.
Yeah, it is actually, isn't it?
It's a very special day. William Marshall Mason turns 41 years old. Hooray. Happy birthday, Will.
Thank you, mate.
When
Thank
this comes out, you'll be 41 years
You're
old.
41, I know. This time last year, remember, we couldn't do anything.
No, we're going to make up for it Saturday.
Lockdown, yeah, so I think
make up for
Saturday will
Saturday.
be all right.
The show and your birthday are proudly brought to us by bettingsite.com.au. Bet right at betting site. There you go, Greg. And now, Will, actually, the weekend was good. Tell me about your weekend, because you and Willie Tonga have had a little trip. Tell everyone about the trip.
Yeah, so Willie Tonga's been doing some work with Deadly Choices up in Queensland, and I'm an ambassador for Deadly Choices in New South Wales now. And this wasn't off Deadly Choices, but we sort of got the idea because they go out to all the communities in pretty much the eastern seaboard of Australia. Anyway, he invited me about a month ago. He goes, "Do you want to come to Gundawindi?" I've never been out that way. He goes, "Come out and we're going to raise money for the community out there, have a talk to all the elders and everybody out in Gundawindi, do a golf day, all that kind of stuff." So really just be in the community for about 2 or 3 days, which was an eye opener. It's a bit different while you're playing. You don't really like when you sort of have to go to these places. When you're with New South Wales in Australia, club teams, you sort of get sent out into the bush and all that kind of stuff, but it's not really on your watch. Yeah. It's a little bit different when you actually want to be out there and talk to the community and get a feel for what's going on in the streets out there about rugby league, about the Indigenous players and anybody who moves from the country to the city. And we held a Q&A. It wasn't really a Q&A. It was just us talking about our journey and everything like that. And then it ended up being about a Q&A for about 3 hours, talking to all the elders in the town, and just they had a heap of questions. I don't think anybody has been out there that's high profile. In the last 5 to 10 years, I don't think many people have been out there just to talk to these people. So, mate, I had a really, really good time. It's a bit different from when you're going out to the country and you're pretty much just on the piss the whole time. We had a few beers while playing golf, which is about it. But the conversations that we were having with some of the people was very enlightening and just a bit surreal too. How they're living out there. We're at Toomilla. Remember the great Ewan McGrady's from there? Yeah. So we're out in the mission there on Sunday morning. It was just it was just surreal and just really have a lot of gratitude. I always have gratitude for our position that I'm in and the life that I live, and living in Sydney and how roof over your head and food and friends and all that kind of stuff we just take for granted. Out there, totally different, man. You see these young kids and you just look and go, what sort of hope do they have of getting out of this place and going with Willie Tonga. People don't probably realise that he's from Cherbourg, which is a mission in about 2 hours west of Brisbane. So he's from that, and he was just that 0.1% that made it. He's the first guy. He was the first Aboriginal kid to come out of Cherbourg, play for Australia, win grand finals, win Origin. So this kid's Tong's got such a beautiful story to tell, and now he probably lost his touch of being in the community and stuff like that, because he left there with 17. He come down to Parramatta as a young kid, and now he's finally found himself again back there. And we'll be doing that a fair bit this year.
Tong is a great
He's
man.
a great person.
And the Deadly Choices is a wonderful initiative.
But we were doing this just, his uncle Goma, he's an elder himself. So we're going out there just because he asked us to go out there. We went out there and just, it's different when you're not on someone else's watch. When you want to go out there and you actually want to do it, and you go out there and you talk to people, there's no one's telling you what to do and when to do it and all this kind of stuff, wearing their shirts and all that kind of stuff. It's okay when you're working for Deadly Choices and for clubs, NRL. But when you're just going out there just because you want to be out there, it's a different sort of feeling. So a Hello to everybody out at Gundawindi, the Gundawindi Balls out there. So that's their local rugby league team. They love rugby league. They love Queensland, obviously. There was a pub called the Great Queenslander, and yeah, I didn't even walk into the joint.
No, they like you up there.
No, it was a great experience, and I can't wait to get out there a bit more.
You're a good man, William, and for those people who don't know how much work Will does in the community, that's just a little snippet of the amount of time that he gives to people. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing that's been very exciting for us is now we're journalists. I'm still waiting for some sort of press pass or something, free box or some sort of party pie at a football game or something. But we've just broken a story. West's Tigers will be honouring Tommy Raudonikis in Magic Round. They will be pulling out the old West Magpies jersey.
I haven't seen that for a while.
Black and white jersey. And they'll be auctioning that off at Magic after the end of Magic Round. They'll be auctioning those jerseys off for charity. So that's great.
And it's like apparently in the fine print that you just have to go out there and punch a piss out of someone.
You have to.
And drink about 40 cans after it.
Well, mate, what do you reckon? I reckon the whole thing with Tommy Raudonikis at the moment, and you know they're going to do a big farewell for him at the cricket ground. They've announced that, and you look at the modern era and how much time has changed. If Tom Raudonikis lived in the modern era, he smoked darts, he drank a heap of piss, he swore like a trooper. You know, he started fights in games, the cattle dog, you know. You look at now, he wouldn't last 5 minutes, but we're all sort of sitting here saying how great it was.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think we had this conversation before, like, you know, the Toby Rudolph comment a couple of weeks ago, which is everyone up in arms about it. That's the worst thing, respect this and that, well, you know, we shouldn't be saying this and that, you know, like Tommy was just one of those. That was the 70s and 80s, I think. You had a lot of characters. Yeah, the game was still a lot of characters, probably till about 10 years ago, till a lot of pressure started coming. Society changes, so players just had to change accordingly. Otherwise, you'll be ostracised and probably out of the game. So, Tommy and the stories that I hear about the 60s, 70s and 80s, even the 90s to an extent, mate. She was wild times, man, but the game wasn't professional. Yeah. You know, it was like that. It was. I think I was talking to a couple of when I was up in Gundawindi. They were trying to get to, you know, how Indigenous players are treated and the mentorships that we went through and all that kind of stuff. And I said, look, I don't think people really understand. So the game only turned professional in 96, 97, didn't it? And I turned professional in 98, 99, 2000. Like, so for me to mentor these young kids, all I know is about being a professional player. So my whole career was professional. But the guys I looked up through, Bradley Clyde and just say Ray Price, all these guys that on it, they had jobs.
Yeah.
You know, they had jobs and everything like that. So they couldn't teach us how to be pros. I keep trying to tell the people who I talk to and mentor right now, I didn't have someone like me coming and telling you how it is because they didn't know how it was.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So it's hard to say that. So all I know is how to be a pro. And I think we've got a really big, ownership on us. There's a big ownership on the players that have been through it in the last 20 years. We can help these young kids because we can tell you how things are going to be. You know what I mean? Like in different stages of your career, the setbacks and everything. Like we can tell you exactly how it is, how to be a professional and all the ebbs and flows into being a rugby league player. So that's why we've got a big responsibility, our era. You know, because we come through the other end and we can tell these kids how to be pros.
I could mentor people about how to not be professional and not go anywhere in your career. That would be something.
Well, there's the other side of the coin, isn't there?
On the other side of the coin.
So that's where we didn't get told anything and how to act. You know what I mean? It was like sink or swim, get down to Sydney and just like do your best. Try your best to be a professional player. And we're very successful. It's only like there's 1% of us that do that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think, you know, guys like myself and Minicello and all these guys that have come through the other end, like Mick Crocker and Craig Fitzgibbon and all those kind of guys, like all we know is how to be a pro. And that's why we got to educate these kids. It's so important.
Well, speaking about being a pro, the Canberra Penrith game, which was a good game of footy, I think Canberra were unlucky.
Great game.
The talking point now, seemingly from that game, is Penrith. There's no question Penrith are cocky. I guess cocky's a way to describe it. There was a little incident where Joe Tarpany was looking to come on the field and Penrith scored a try in the corner and Crichton sort of grabbed him and then there was a little bit of a hoo-ha there and I think the Raiders trainer got fined today or something. But do you like the fact that Penrith are is it arrogance? Is it confidence? Is it where does the line draw?
It's a lot of niggle, and I mean, I'm not condoning the fight game back, 5 years ago. Even you're acting like we talk like this, like it was 20 years ago. 2014 that rule come in. It's the niggles in it. Like you could sort that shit out in the first 10 minutes, and there will not be any niggling. You know what I mean? Then I think Liam Martin was coming on. I watched that whole game. Jordan Rapana was into people. When Canberra were on top, he's a winger and he niggles the hell out of everyone. Front rows, he talks shit to everybody. And then then it got flipped because Penrith started getting on top. Then Liam Martin started, like him and Kickow and all these sort of blokes. You can see in the tackles, it was like there's a lot of stuff going on in tackles because if you rewind it 10 years ago, if you're putting all that sort of niggle into a person when he's on the ground, you're pretty much saying to that dude, when we get up, we're going to fight.
Yeah.
That's the sort of bullshit that's happening now. And you get up and that dude cannot do a thing.
Yeah.
There could be a halfback into you like that. I think Flanagan last week, I talked about last week when he did that to Cody Walker.
Yeah.
You got to understand these guys are fiery dudes. You know what I mean? Like this is an aggressive game, and it boils over sometimes. The niggling, and they know the repercussions. I mean, I can just think like just the amount of niggles you can do on the ground when you're in a tackle, and that dude cannot get up and do anything. It's going to take its toll. Someone's going to lose their shit.
Who was the most niggly player when you were around?
I'm not sure. I mean, there was a lot of niggles, but I'm just saying, when I watch the game now, if you niggle like that, that means you want to get up and have a crack. But these players know, because if that guy hits me, I'm gonna try my best. So I'm gonna try my best to annoy the fucking shit out of that bloke. If he gets up, swings a punch, he's getting sent off.
Yeah.
So don't think people aren't thinking like that, because there's no repercussions to your actions. So Penrith times that by 10 because everybody, they seem like they get along so good. They all back each other up. They're a good team, it sucks when you get beat out at Penrith. You know what I mean? Like was a Saturday night or Friday night, whatever game it was. The pushing and shoving after, just little things like if someone drops a ball, the tapping on the back of the head, which is the most fucking demeaning thing I can see in a game. It's terrible. Shaking of the head when someone's dropping the ball, the amount of shit talk, the throwing, just these little niggles that I pick up on. I'm like, damn, that would just, and these guys, they want to do that. They're so amped up. Plus you're getting beat. You're so passionate and you just want to fucking kill someone. Trust me, I can see it in these forwards' eyes. They want to lose their shit. Joe Tarpany's a fiery dude.
Yeah.
He wants that smoke. You know what I mean? And then he would just stand there minding his own business. Crichton comes along. I don't think he really meant anything. Sort of just touched him while he was celebrating. He sort of kicks up a stink. Tyrone May's pulling his jersey back. Like, fucking just don't do that, you know what I mean? And then so what do you think that's going to happen? You know what I mean? And then that was because Jared Croker was involved in that try. He missed that try. He was involved in that try, missing a tackle or some shit like that. And then Liam Martin comes running past, sort of elbows him a little bit. Croker's like, what are you fucking doing, mate? He pushes him. And then Croker pushes him. What do you expect everything to do? It's going to erupt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just petty. I don't care the way Penrith are playing. I don't mind it. If you're winning, you can say what the fuck you want. You can act how you want. Because I understand exactly what they're doing. I was like that. I wouldn't niggle because if I niggled, I would be fighting you.
Be on. Yeah.
It'd be on. So you'd cut all that shit out if you're going to get a punch in the mouth. There's no repercussions, so you just have to put up with it. We made those rules. Let's not whinge about it because these players are just going to take it.
Do you reckon Penrith are going so well that they're going to have a target put on them? If they carry on like that, then they just don't care.
But what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? You can carry on as much as you want. There is nothing you can do. That team is a bunch of animals. They're physically good. They're mentally good. They're well coached. Good luck. You can actually throw a good team off back in the day because you'd start a fight.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, what am I going to do? I'd grab their toughest player, guys like Ogre and Roy and Sonny and all those. You're going to take care of business. You know what I mean? Like, you'd go out of your way to try and put them off. You can't put teams off. They're front runners, man, and they're a good team, and they stick up for each other. And that's what all good teams do. Penrith are a good side. They rattled Canberra. They rattled them. You know, so the niggle is just going to keep on going. Yeah. It's not because the rules are you're not allowed to fight. Simple.
Well, the HIA rules, and I think, one of the good things about doing this podcast, I guess, is when we talk about stuff that matters to us and, things that we want to talk about and when it resonates with people. And I think a thing that we did last week about players not being looked after, after the game, and sort of a lot of ex-players have got involved, and Ren and Tong, and a few others have retweeted or whatever it's called. But with the HIA rule specifically, Nickel Kloskak, when he went off, that was the end of that game. That was pretty much game over for Canberra. Now, Kickout wasn't penalised; he wasn't sent off, so they couldn't replace him. Yeah. Even if they could, to be fair, then they would have put on the 18th man who wasn't going to play fullback. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game. You've had a bit of an idea, will you?
Yeah, I'll go back to that. It was 6-0. Like Penrith are winning 6-0. Kiko comes down there, bang, he hits Klokstad in the back of the head, rattles him. He goes off. That was probably about 15 minutes ago, maybe 16 minutes ago in the first half. And then next minute, you've got to have a whole shuffle. Rapana never plays full. He's played five. He's played over 140 games. He's played five times at fullback.
He was having a big chunder too.
And he was having a red hot crack. Yeah. So it took him out of the game. Elliot Whitehead, back row, has to play left centre. Crockett never plays wing, plays wing. What do? Straight down their left edge. Crichton gets the ball, one-on-one with Elliot. Schools him, little giddly flick, kid in the corner.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Change the game, change the momentum straight away. They knew we're going to kick to Rapana, we're going to attack down their left edge all game. It changed the whole dynamics of the game. So I think, with that rule, I'm like, you know what, they should, with this 18th man rule, that didn't get they couldn't do anything because
didn't
of
help Canberra at all.
Yeah, no, it was a word. It ruined the game. Then Canberra was blown out, so it takes its toll on the middles and everything like that because they have to work extra hard. Elliot Whitehead has to push out 1 more metre. It takes its toll. So that's what happened on that. And the 18th man couldn't come on because Kikau didn't get sin bin or sent off.
Yep.
So I'm thinking you do so every game now you warm 21 players up. So 1 to 21. You play 17, there's 4 there just doing nothing. I think to solve a lot of these problems, you should be able to, like it was back in the old days. Remember they used to stack benches, people used to play reserve grade and all that kind of stuff. Obviously they're not going to be playing. So you're warming 21 players up. Have all those guys on the bench ready to go. Doesn't change the interchange.
You still get
the 8 interchanges. You still get
4 people only.
You can only use 4, but the coach has to select it throughout. And I just think it would be a lot easier if they did something like that.
Well, Canberra, there's no question, even if, the thing is, if the 18th man, when we were talking about this during the round, because it was obviously the first round had happened, so the Broncos' 18th man was Ethan Bullimore. Now, at what point do you need Ethan Bullimore to come on? He's a good footballer, but he's not going to change a game. So if you then have a bench that's stacked with 8 blokes and you've got positions covered, so position specific, even if Canberra could have put the 18th man on to replace...
Yeah, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Wouldn't have made a difference because they still would have had those shifts. But if you've got those blokes and you've got position specific, all of a sudden it evens the game up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm not going to take full credit for it because I was with Luke Lewis out at New South Wales Rugby League today with Deadly Choices, and we were just talking about the HIA system, and we both sort of we're just talking about it, and we just sort of come up with this idea. And I think it works. Enough of this, the kid has to be a up and coming player, all this shit. He has to be knocked out, the guy has to be sent off 10 minutes in the bin. No, if you lose that player, you've got all these other kids to select. You still only get eight interchanges. You just have more kids to select, and you're probably going to select a little bit carefuler.
And I think as well,
is that a word?
No, it's not.
Carefully,
it's your birthday almost, so you can call it your birthday word. So then the thing with that is, if just say. Because that obviously opens it up that people will be able to rort it more because they, have pretend head knocks or whatever. But if you then say, all right, if you go off with a head knock and an HIA and you can't come back and you get replaced, well, it's an automatic 1 or 2 weeks off.
Yeah, I think it should be.
That way
if you're I think there should be rules with the NRL, with the HIA. It should be a mandatory. If you're getting knocked out, like some of these kids, I was thinking the last couple of weeks that have been absolutely flogged. They pass their HIA protocols. They're allowed to play the next week. I'm totally against that. You get knocked out in a boxing match, I think it's 3 to 6 weeks minimum that you're out. And I've seen these kids cop some severe head knocks. Jake Friend, for instance, if he had to pass his HIA protocols, just say he hadn't had 19 concussions beforehand, he passes that, he's allowed to play.
Yeah.
And I'm totally against it. Always have been. I just think it should be 3 weeks minimum, and then that'll stop all the so-called, I think people will take advantage of it. You know what I mean? You know, taking advantage of now, you got your people to select from. You only choose 8. And I just think it'd be, because you're warming up 21 players anyway. You're warming them up. It's not like the old days when you played reserve grade and you end up there's about 10 players on the bench, all that kind of stuff. You're only going to pick 4. You only pick 4 anyway.
Rugby union does the same thing. They've got 8 bench, and now in the game itself, that bench becomes, like Michael Checker called them, the finishers. So you'd have those 8 blokes as part of the side. So if you've got 8 but you can only use 4, I just think it evens a game. I don't know.
So I pretty much solved the problem, Villandy. So I just think Luke Lewis and myself later.
I
know you're a big fan of the show, so you're probably watching it. It'll probably be implemented by round 7.
I just genuinely can't believe you've had a good idea. It's one of the strangest.
Mate, this brain is non-stop.
Yeah.
All right. There you go.
I'll tell you. Thank you. For those that are listening, we just got another beer. So, John Morris. Speaking of big brains, I don't know what to make of this. I look at clubs. We talked about loyalty last week, and we talked about loyalty with players and Adam Reynolds and that sort of thing. I think
one thing I want to say, I mean, I listened to our podcast last week, and I was like, my loyalty was lost, and I didn't care about this kind of thing. Don't get it twisted. Once I wasn't loyal to the club. I was 100% loyal to the team I played for and had that much pride in what I did as a player. Otherwise, I wouldn't have played how I did. So some people can misconstrue those words and go, oh, he just fucking left the club and he just chased money. No, I knew that loyalty was out of the game, always looked out for my best interest because I knew there's only one me. You know what I mean? So just don't get all those words out, take it out of context, because every time I wore another jersey, I had that much pride in myself.
And you were 100% committed to that.
And
jersey.
The other players that I ran out with, my commitment was crazy. You know what I mean? So it just wasn't that crazy to the club. Yeah. Couldn't give a shit. Another jersey, another color, whatever.
And not even the club will. Like, you're not even talking about the club itself. You're not talking about the Bulldogs jersey. You're talking about the current management of that club.
Yeah.
So it's basically.
Oh yeah. So people just get it twisted. They're like, oh my God, he doesn't like the club.
Yeah. Dude, you love the Bulldogs.
I love the Bulldogs. I love the
CEO at the time.
I don't like the CEO. I never liked Malcolm Nate. I still don't.
There we go. We're going to just use the name. Anyway, let's go back to John Morris. So, explain to me, if you're a Sharks fan, we talk about loyalty, if they have a player that leaves mid-season or whatever and, he's leaving, he's got no loyalty, what about a club that genuinely knifes, like literally from Monday to Wednesday, the bloke's got a job, we're not, blah, blah, blah. Then, no, they're going to sign, but he can have the season. And then all of a sudden he doesn't even have a job on a Wednesday. It's quite a bizarre week.
Just the way they handled it.
Yeah.
Could be handled better. Just tell the truth when the media are never wrong. Like guys like Danny White, they're just non-stop fucking trying to just find stuff, and they're never wrong. I speak to Danny a fair bit. He's still a good friend. He's a very good friend of mine. He doesn't get shit wrong. He knew this 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? He just could have handled it better. Be honest with John Morris. Don't lie. You want some transparency and everything. John Morris is a grown-ass man. He's a father. He's a coach. He's a lot of things. Don't play him like that. I think he deserves a lot more respect than that. The last 2 years, he's got you to the playoffs. He hasn't had any deep runs, but there's a lot of injuries and stuff. He's done a lot better than some of these other coaches that are sitting with jobs right now. I just don't think he deserved this. Just be transparent with John. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. Just tell the truth. Tell the truth. It's just handled just really poorly. And John Morris deserves better than that. I don't think he's done much wrong at that club, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know how senior players are getting along with him. Obviously, I've heard whispers that, some senior players weren't getting along with him. Do you know what I mean? So, the way that the media portrays a lot of things, they control the narrative. And John Morris hasn't come out and said a word, so we can't sit there and just speculate on a lot of shit. People just try and fill in the blanks, All I can look at it diplomatically and say, handle it better, Cronulla. This should not have been out like this. You've hanged Fitzy out to dry. He's got to go and talk to Nick Politis and make all these things. And, he's done his work. Let's just concentrate on the work that John Morris has done. So he continues to coach for the rest of the year.
No, he's gone.
So he said that he's done. Was that his decision?
I think it was the club's decision. So Josh Hannay's
effective
taken over.
Immediately, he's done.
Effective immediately.
He doesn't deserve that.
No.
So Josh Hannay.
Josh Hannay. Yeah.
I've known Josh Hannay since I was 16. What a great great work, great accomplishment for him. How does he feel? Like, I mean,
He'd feel bad.
he would feel bad. But why can't John Morris finish out the year? It doesn't mean like you bring Fitzy in. Doesn't mean Josh Hannay's going to be there.
And my understanding is that he didn't walk. That they said, you know,
They're going to pay him out. Obviously, they
turn up.
paid him out every cent.
Well, they must have. But I mean, he's the lowest paid coach in the.
But
comp.
there still is. I don't think he would have walked if they didn't pay him all his
No,
money.
he has to get paid.
So I just think they've handled it wrong. And obviously, when they do stuff like this, something else has happened.
Well,
You know what I mean? I'm not just going to look at it and go, John Morris has coached really well. He's made two finals runs, and then he's a really good bloke. That's how we all perceive it. But something's happened.
Tell me this: can blokes coach straight out of playing? Because there was not a huge period of time, and there's been a few that have done it. Nathan Brown did it at St George. Fittler did it when or
Both fails. Fails.
Yeah, and you can talk with some conviction. Like you played with Brad Fittler at rep level, and then he's coaching.
And he did that at the Roosters in 2008, 2009. I thought Freddie was a great coach, and then like things just get pear shaped after losing. It was a totally different circumstance, and same as Brownie at St George. But I think it would be hard because Brownie was playing with Baz and Lance Thompson and Sean Timmins, and they went to a grand final together and all this kind of stuff. Same as like Fitzy was playing with like Fitzy and Minnie. I played with him at a rep level, but these other guys have gone to war with him week in, week out. It's totally different than what I did. So that would have been a lot harder for Freddie to coach those blokes, I think. And it would have been hard for fucking John Morris to coach for Feeder and Gallen and all these other blokes who they did play football with. So I would not recommend it.
I think there needs, because I look at it realistically, and you'd probably agree with this, there needs to be a level of respect. Wayne Bennett's the best at it. It's not a friendship where you're going to go and have beers, but there's a level of respect, and there is a friendship, but it can't be, let's go to the pub. Remember when Jason Taylor with
big Dave Fongalinga just punched the shit out of him.
Yeah, punched him down the stairs. Like he shouldn't have been at the thing. You know what I mean?
Never, because you have a look at guys like Wayne Bennett. He would rock up and just for the Mad Monday, just to keep an eye on everybody, have a bit of fun, go home, leave it up to the senior players to keep control. Yeah, I don't recommend it, man. I mean, because especially Brad Fittler has a level of respect that he garners,
that
he's earned. You know what I mean? Like where I respect him so much, he's always like a legend of the game. So he's probably one of those blokes who can get away with that. Brownie, not a representative player. John Morris, not a representative player. So if you've represented at a high level and achieved more than that coach, then there's an ego problem. Do you know what I mean? And I don't try and get it twisted, saying like, oh no, it's all that kind. No, you fucking look at that coach, going, what the fuck have you done? You know what I mean? Trying to tell me what to do. Players have egos, and if you're looking at a coach who just being a club player, him trying to tell you what to do when you're an Australian representative or a New South Wales representative, don't try and think you're taking that all in. Like if Wayne Bennett said that to you, or if John Morris said that to you, or Craig Bellamy.
So, but then looking at that, Bellamy and Bennett were both good club footballers, but they had that period of time where they became good coaches. So you're saying that you're not looking at John Morris as a coach, you're looking at him as a player.
That's what players do.
So there needs to be that time frame between being a player and being a coach.
If I was going to get into coaching, I'd make sure everybody is retired that I played against or with.
Yeah, because Fitzgibbon, to be fair, he retired a while ago, and now he's
2009 he retired, so no one's around in 2009.
There'd be kids that they've just seen his highlights on YouTube.
So that's the thing. I mean, So just don't. Yeah, that's what players do. They just look at your resume. Even I've seen some young kids when you come in and do some coaching, they're looking at players that they wouldn't even recognise. And they're like, I can hear them. What is it? What has he done? Did you play like this and that? Like they check your resume. These young kids, they don't care. You'd have to come up with a resume like a Craig Fitzgibbon. Fitzy's one of the best back rowers to play the game, and he's so well respected. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't recommend it. And it's not John Morris's fault.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He's not going to say no. He found himself under Flanagan and in different circumstances, and so did Brownie. So you're not going to say no because obviously they had dreams to coach. But I just think sometimes you just need to chill.
I think there needs space. I think that's basically what it comes down to, is that if you're going to coach, you need to make sure that you're not coaching blokes that, you know.
Well, it hasn't worked out, has it?
No, it definitely hasn't. Look, I feel sorry for one thing. I'm starting to warm to social media. We're tweeting and we're all doing all these things. I'll tell you what, John Morris's mum came absolutely off the back fence on a tweet or replying to an Instagram story. I think her name's Sharon. I love you, Sharon. Fire up for your son. You've done a good job.
Yeah, that's what mothers do, man. Like Johnny Morris is my age. I've known Johnny since we were about 15. So I just feel sorry because it could have been handled different. Regardless if we've been going on the tangent about players and should players play with, players that they coach and players, all that kind of bullshit. Like, Johnny Morris is a good dude. But, they should have been handled better. His mum's come out, backed him up like a good mum should. Yeah. So be it. That's the way, that's exactly how she feels. That's probably how a lot of people feel. But I can understand from a business point of view that where, obviously someone doesn't like Johnny Morris who's in a powerful position. Otherwise this shit would not happen.
Yeah. He got paid about $300,000 apparently.
Good on him. Deserves more.
Good on you. All right, William. So this week, let's have a look. There's some good games and there's some blowout games again as well. The first game of the round is the Thursday night game, which is the Broncos versus the Panthers. Now, I know that Channel 9 are probably contractually obliged to have the Broncos on every Thursday or Friday night so that people in Queensland have got something to watch. And
Did you watch the Broncos and Souths?
Yeah, I did.
What do you think? Just looking at the game, just have a look at it, dissect it a little bit. What do you think? Where do you think the Broncos are going wrong?
Look, I think the Broncos don't know what football side they are yet. I think they're turning around. They've got such a good forward pack that doesn't seem to go forward. They make such basic errors. They've got someone like Tavita Pangai Jr., who is one of the most destructive forwards in the game when he's going. They play him on the bench. They play him on the edge. They play him in the middle. Like they've moved him onto the edge again this week. He doesn't know what he's doing. And they drop Milford, they bring in Croft and Dearden. Now, you're now saying, all right, I trust Croft and Dearden to do a job, and yet for the last 4 weeks they've been reversing on and off the bench. Yeah. I just think they don't know who they are.
Yeah, a couple of key indicators, me watching that game. Just the amount of ease that South Sydney got out of their yardage. They made 60 metres on their first set.
Yeah.
They got to a kick. Milford touched the ball twice in 20 minutes. But their first up contact in their middles, you had outside backs and half-backs finding their front. You know what I mean? You don't do that. And you win games on defence. You set tones with your defence. And you got Payne Haas, Tavita Pangai Jr., Matt Lodge, Alex Glenn, Carrigan. They're first graders. They're good first graders. They're representative players. And to have that pack, Big Tommy Burgess, Totola, Sue, Host, Cam Murray, run straight through, and then their outside backs just making line breaks after, like through the middle, Cook running straight through. Like it was just all these half little line breaks, finding their front frequently all the time. The way to beat South is, or to nullify how their attack is, you've got to slow their middle down.
Yeah.
You've got to, and it's not like, I think Paulo and probably Big Campbell Gillard, when they go on their best, and Nathan Brown, that's probably the most balanced three in the game. You know what I mean? Like your two props and your lock. You got Totola Burgess and Cam Murray. You know what I mean? Like it's doable. When you've got Payne Haas, Pangai Jr. and Lodge, you should be able to stop that. You should be able to stop the bleeding through the middle. Non-stop, 60 to 70 metre gains. Reynolds putting it on a dime. You know what I mean? But like, if they had to stop that pressure at the start and just like maybe 40, 45 metres, 50 metres max on their go forward, Cam Murray, but it wasn't that. They were finding 60 to 70 metres. Campbell Graham throwing off people. Their wingers, Latrell Mitchell looking like a giant out there. Benji Marshall making you look like an idiot. You know what I mean? Like their ball playing, their simple defensive errors. You know, when they played, it was at the middle of the field, perfect example. It was pretty much 6 attackers, 5 defenders. That's easy to defend on a long side shift. So what happens? They get the ball up, and the young kid Ricky just rushes out on Benji. He make you if you defend, you come up, you put pressure on Benji, and you check and you release out to the side. You don't come up, make Benji play his hand. You know what I mean? He just passed the ball, just bang, and then they got numbers. Do you see that? I think it was the second try. You're making him play his hand. You go up, you let Benji pass the ball, and you come up and you slide from the inside, and you eventually get the winger and you throw him out the sideline. It went hands, Merritt in the corner. Yeah. That's fucking under sixes. Merritt. It doesn't happen.
Nathan
Merritt. Oh shit, Nathan Merritt.
He's come out of retirement.
Alex Johnson in the corner. But that try really got me. I'm just like, that is like basic shit that you do. You just don't put pressure on Benji or any of the ball players. You make him play because Benji's not. He's got to get the ball out of his hands quick. And you go to him, you go, and then everybody else has to come up and in. You don't do that. I just watched it. I said, God damn, who's coaching these guys and why are they doing that? And I'm going to put it down to Ricky, the young kid, being a rookie.
Yeah,
that's it. Because that kid's a really good player. But like, just a couple of their defensive errors. I'm like, God
benched.
Damn.
I'll tell you what's funny, Will. I saw someone come out and say, because the Broncos are shit this year, that it's not Seibold's fault. Seibold took a side that made the finals, and he turned them shit. You know what I mean? Like, he had a roster that was a final side, and then all of a sudden they're not. So Kevin Walters has inherited a side that came last. So Kevin Walters is trying to take a side from last to the 8. Whereas Seibold was the opposite.
One thing I look at, and we sort of slid over, like a kid like David Fafita, best young kid pretty much in the country, I reckon. Usually, you'd never leave a team like the Broncos, and he left at 21. He's not 30. He's not in his prime yet. He's probably the best up-and-coming young kid, and he left. That, to me, just ring alarm bells. Something's wrong with the culture. Something's wrong with the system. For a kid like that, regardless of the money, you know what I mean? He got paid a fair bit at times, but he just didn't want to be there. You know, so that's something they've got. You know, they've got a lot of hard work to do, man. And I've heard Lodge. I think Lodge did an interview the other day. Like, he knows they've got talent. Something's just happening, and they're just not really putting that foot down. And man, I'd hate to be in that position, man, because it'd be frustrating as hell. Because that, as a team, I look at the Bulldogs and go, you know what, 1-17, good luck. I look at 1-17 Broncos and go, you should be fighting for a top 8 spot.
Kevin Walters gave a press conference today, and he was gibbering on about a cake and something. I think he was saying they've got a good side and they're going to get better. So good luck to the Broncos cake this weekend.
What was that? He's actually saying it's not his list. He said it's not his list. So Kevy said it's not his list. So, you know, he's going to get an opportunity to build his list.
If they don't resell him. All right, so the Knights are playing the Sharks. The Sharks will be looking, I don't know.
Sorry, let's go to the Panthers there. They look red hot. Red hot. The way they're playing, that looked like a semi-final against Canberra. They just belted them, got to their kicks. Cleary, Luai, outstanding. So let's just, I mean, I wish I had put them in the grand final with South, because I think that looks like it's going there. Anyway, Knights and Sharks.
Look, the Knights, they must be... Are they the most frustrating team? No, the Tigers are the most frustrating team to support, but the Knights are up there. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get. They've got some players back this week. They've got Bradman Best. They've got, who else they got coming back? Kurt Mann, someone else.
Their defensive errors, I mean, like, Fafita gets a ball up like it's under 8 and just runs over. That just doesn't happen.
No.
I mean, like, Blake Green, Balake Green, love him to death. Way out of his depth. He's come back too early.
He's not fit.
He's slow. He's not fit enough. I know Blake quite well. He's a good dude, good kid, but like, geez, he needs about another month of rehab. Some of his defensive errors, you know, like just say that little error when Peachy went through the line, he comes up in no man's land. If you're a defender, young kids at home, you damn it, never come up past the ball and in no man's land. All Peachy did is throw a little bit of a dummy, Proctor around his same line, bang, try. You just don't do that kind of stuff. That's fucking kindergarten stuff. And some of the errors that they were making, you know, with and without the ball, it's like, come on, man. They got some changes to do up there.
Tyson Frizzell's probably going, what have I done?
Tyson Frizzell's playing lights out.
And St. George are going good. I was like, maybe I should have stayed. I should have stayed.
You know, I think Frizz has been outstanding this year.
He's
but
good.
like, the team, mate, they miss Pearce, man. Ponga is under immense pressure. I feel sorry for Ponga. He's going to have to get the ball 50 times a game.
He's not. I mean, you can't expect...
He's had a shoulder reconstruction.
He's just back.
What about how terrified you'd be if Fafita's making a line break and he's just going...
He kept going straight at him too, didn't he?
Oh, my life.
Bag's not... Do you reckon when the surgeon finished the operation, he was like, "You're going to have this amount of time."
Said fine print. Please don't get in front of David
Please do
Fafita.
not 16 times in a game. Don't try and tackle David.
And he
Fafita.
would solely be blaming his middles and his edge defenders. Like, why are you letting him through? Come
Do you
on,
reckon-
man.
I'll tell you what is another thing. Herman SASA can't even make the 17 for the Titans.
They still look
They need him.
they still look clunky, the
The
Titans.
Knights
But
need him. Bring him back.
anyway,
Bring
let's
back
get on to the
Herman.
Storm and Roosters. Probably the best game.
Probably.
Whatever. Cowboys and Bulldogs, I was going to say.
That's a good game. That's a good game of footy. I don't know. Like
Storm and Roosters, I'm tired. I don't know
Storm
what.
are red hot favourites from a betting perspective. Brought to you by bettingsite.com.au.
Ooh, good plug.
Hey, you're welcome. But I don't know. Like, I can't see that they're $1.40 or whatever they are.
Young kid Sam Walker. Now, if you carve these dudes up,
Then yeah.
then it's warranted. But I don't want these guys putting so much pressure on this kid, man. Let him be. Told it last week. Give me a year or two of this sort of football, then you can be anointed as the next big thing.
The crown's on
He
their
doesn't
head
want to
already.
be that. He doesn't want to be that yet. He just
Yeah.
wants to be Sam Walker, the young kid that's the halfback for the Roosters. Not the next big thing. I hope he's not reading all this bullshit. I mean, I know he's got his uncle Chris Walker, Texas, good friend of mine, and Ben and Shane. They're good people. They will keep him grounded. But hopefully he's not reading all this positive shit. Just keep it pressured. I think
can you
with
not,
Rob,
though?
I know,
How
but
can
I'm
you
just saying,
not?
don't read into it. You can read the shit, have a look at your photo, see if you look ripped or not, and that's it. That's all I'll be looking at.
Is that what you used to do?
That's all I did.
You
I didn't.
had-
I just read the headline. Oh my God! Get that paper away from me.
That was when you started off with all the haircuts. Everyone was
Yeah.
interested with the haircuts. So I don't know. I reckon the Storm. I said I didn't think the Storm would be the same Storm this year, purely because they're missing a bit of experience with Cameron Smith. I think and I don't reckon that they are the Storm of old. I don't reckon. They're
How do you
still
expect
a
them to
good
be,
side.
man?
But that's what I'm saying. People.
Oh,
I don't know. I just don't
think you got to give Harry Grant some more games. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, the guy's a freak. Once Harry Grant finds his feet, then they can shuffle around the bench, and they'll be as strong as hell coming into Origin. Give Harry Grant about 4 or 5 weeks. They've got it. They've got a gun team. This will be the best test for the Roosters.
I'll tell you what as well, which I'm looking forward to. Everybody's telling everybody in the world that the Poop is now the number one fullback in the game. You watch James Tedesco this week.
I know. And it's
You
not
watch
even
James
Pappenhausen.
Tedesco.
And it's not even
It's not him
Pappenhausen.
doing it.
It's these fucking media dudes just
Yeah.
putting clickbait up so people can press on it and go, Pappenhausen hasn't said shit.
No.
You come out on the weekend and goes, Teddy's been there, done it for 5 years at the highest level, blah, blah, blah. I haven't done that yet. I love that, how he said that.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly how I feel. Do it for 5 years. Play Origin, play for Australia, do it for 5 years on top. He will be that player, I think. He's the heir apparent to Teddy. Until then, till Teddy, probably in about another 3 or 4 years, and then Teddy will probably be done by that time. You know what I mean? He'll probably be in his 30s, and then it's Pappenhausen's turn. You can't just say, oh, Pappenhausen's, come on, bro. Like, he scored 4 tries, 4 of them were backing up.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Pappenhausen. He's a gun player. Gun. But give me Teddy any time of the day.
Tedesco is genuinely a better... Pappenhausen's got a lot going for him, but Tedesco, I'd pick Tedesco any other week, and he will be picked for New South Wales.
It's
and
not even.
Pappenhausen.
It's
not even a question.
All it is clickbait, and bullshit. Hey, you got to get your fucking views somehow.
How do we get ours?
We don't
No.
care about views. We don't care about views.
I'll tell you who cares about views is the Sea Eagles. They've won a game finally. Hooray
Yep.
for the Sea Eagles. And they've got Tommy Turbo. He's got over
Did
slipping in the
that
bath.
Walker kid get dropped?
No, he's injured.
Oh God, I was going to say
You would have
should
to,
have
you'd
dropped
him
him.
anyway. But yeah, look,
Terrible.
I don't know. People are tipping the Manly. How do you tip Manly?
Because it's at Brookvale and it's a terrible oval. Saturday Arvo, they're hard to
called
beat
Lotto
down
Land,
there.
Will.
I call it Brookie, mate.
1-300 smiles.
Hey, I played there. I'm one of their greats.
You are one of the greats. Then Cherry Evans took your money.
Yeah, Titans. This will be a good test for them. Sea Eagles aren't that bad. As I keep comparing to the lower teams like the Bulldogs. Bulldogs have not got a good side. They haven't got one rep player in their team. I look at the Eagles. You got 5 representative players. You got both Trebojeviches, DCE, Kapow, and maybe someone else.
There's another
someone
one
else?
somewhere.
There's Alloway. He's played at a representative level. He has.
I know he has.
He has. And I was going to get you on a technicality because it's Samoa.
No, he's played. If you play for
And
your
he's played
country,
for
you
New
can
Zealand.
play. Has he?
Yeah. So
right.
he's a decent player. So, if you put, if you got 5 representative players in key positions, I'm expecting a lot more. They've had a hard run, the Eagles, very hard run. So I think I can understand how the Eagles would be tipped against the Titans because I'm not sold on the Titans. I'm not sold. I love Fafita, but you can get Fafita out of the game. You can pressure it. You can just don't wake him up because he does sit on that left edge. He doesn't go in the middle that much for work.
No, he doesn't.
You know what I mean? And I don't think the Titans utilise him well enough. You know what I mean? Like he touched the ball twice in 22 minutes. You got to give him early ball. Sometimes you got to take him to the line. You got to ask questions because he ain't going to play against Newcastle Knights or the Broncos, which are two of the worst defensive sides. He's going to have to come and do that against Melbourne, against the Roosters, against South, against Penrith, and look what happened against Canberra.
Yeah.
They nullified him. You got to do. That's how you can get him out of the game. They need to have better players around him. But yeah.
That was quite passionate then about.
I love the way he plays. I would get him involved. He plays 80 minutes a game. I think he touched the ball 12 times last week. I want him at least 20 to 25 touches. You see the skills he's got. He got the ball, bang, cut out ball to the winger. He's got all these skills.
I'm just checking. You actually did tip the Titans, so don't talk yourself out of it.
I'm not.
Do you know what? From last week, I don't know if I got recognition for this, but just before we started doing that live tweet, I said I want to change my tip. So I think
I do that every week too,
counts.
mate.
You do that minute.
Don't bullshit don't bullshit to the people, Ian.
Yeah.
I said it just after the game.
Great, yeah, he's good. He's good at changing his tips afterwards. South Tigers. Tigers are interesting because I don't think Little was going that badly, which means this Simpkin that they've brought in at 9, there's been huge raps on him, and there was that sort of battle for spots. Whoops, there goes the pencil. There's battle for spots before the season started. But Little got it, and now he's got dropped. He was one of the only ones. Big Carbs kid, he's starting, which I think he's been their best forward.
Did you see Madge on the weekend?
He looked normal and calm.
He looked like he just had about 10 Valiums and just relaxed in the coach's box. Just relax. He looks like he's going to just pop a fucking heart valve.
Yeah, he needs some sort of treatment.
Yeah, I
for
feel
his
sorry
heart.
for him, mate. They're just playing terrible rugby league.
If you were the Tigers, just say you finished at halftime and you've got your coach who loves yelling at you. He's having a coronary in the box. You've got the faithful at Leichhardt booing you. Would you go and hide behind the goalposts? I'd go and find something else to do for 10 minutes, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to go anywhere
Terrible.
near
I think they just
walking
look
off.
at what they had to play for. That's what disappoints me. Tommy Radonigas, West great, and they put out that performance. You know what I mean? It's just like when there's all the chips in, and then you put out that performance. That's what you'd be more disappointed in. All the Balmain fans and the West Tigers fans and Western Suburbs or whatever. They think Sunday footy at Leichhardt, beautiful sunny day, perfect position, perfect conditions for rugby league, and you dish that shit out. Like fucking, I think their right side let in like 4 tries. That young kid off their first set, the young little Kummel kid just went flying down the sideline. They were putting up kicks. It was embarrassing their right side. Noel Faluna was just getting schooled all game. They ended up coming back, but it was just too late. I just think, I just don't understand. I think too many of their players are like basic little things. I think Joe Offengower, they let him try, and I think it was their second or third try. That young back rower, he just scored like right off the line. Like there's 3 people in the tackle. Joe needs to peel off. He needs to have his eyes on the hooker and his eyes up in front of him. That's where your eyes should be. All he did was look at the hooker. Next minute, his eyes turned to that young back row. Boom, try. You got to have your eyes everywhere. You look at the hooker and you look who's in front of you first, and you point and you nominate and you hit that kid. As soon as he hits that ball, he should have been flogged. Stop looking at the hooker. That's just bad rugby league, man. It was like little things like that where they could have stopped it. They just didn't. They couldn't stop the bleeding. But some of the defensive errors were just diabolical. It was page 2, like defense. On-line defense. You just don't do that. And some of their forwards, like you got Big Tarmow, Alex Twal. Who's the other kid? The other starting prop, Polynesian kid, Zane Musgrove. Same players. Same players. Big, strong, fast, run hard, hardly any footwork, no pre-line pass, no offloads. Very easy to game plan for. You just load up the box. You know it's 1 out. You get 3 in. You slow the ball down. Someone needs a point of difference there. The only guy who has is Luciano Leilua, when they get to that left edge, he's a dangerous player, but he can't get the ball and do any damage when he's on a slow play the ball.
All right, Will. 3 games. Raiders, Eels, Dragons, Warriors, Cowboys, Bulldogs. Let's go straight to Cowboys, Bulldogs.
Who cares?
Do you think the Bulldogs can win a game?
I'm sick of talking about him.
Can they win a game?
Yeah, they can win a game. Probably win 2 or 3 this year, but like Cowboys come back. I think Taumalolo's going to come back, and a few other people. But yeah, I'm not really concerned about this game. Cowboys. They had a good win on the weekend, but that was still a low game. The Dogs are just let's comment on them when they actually win.
Yeah,
it's diabolical, mate. Dragons and Warriors.
Congratulations to Anthony Griffin's doing a good job there at the
Oh,
Dragons.
mate, how good is he done?
Look, there was a lot of criticism at him at the start of the year, and he's bought Josh Maguire now, which, he's basically just picking his Brisbane under-20s players.
Yeah. But the way they're
works.
defending, I said that when we were tweeting on the weekend, I was like, if they defend like this, they're a top 4 side, easily top 8. It's just whether they can maintain it, because they play a brutal style of defense. They were working for each other, and they've set the standard now.
They were good.
They defend like this, and they've got enough strike in that team. You throw Ben Hunt in there instead of Clune. Throw Ben Hunt in there, then you've got a strike team, man. That Dufty can score from any of the wingers are good. Zach Lomax and Jack Bird, 2 of the best defensive centres in the game.
Shout out to Ravalawa as well. Mike Acevo gets all the raps.
He won the Carver Cup.
He won the Carver Cup. Congratulations. Just quickly on that too. I know it's not rugby league related, but they've just announced that, well, it kind of is rugby league related because they've just started in the New South Wales Cup. They've got a Fijian side now in that side, and they've just announced that through the Super Rugby, they're going to have a Fijian side and a Pacifica side, which presumably will be Samoan and Tongan. So I think anything that can encourage development in these nations that are a bit, they're a bit poorer than the developed nations, and yet they provide so many of the brilliant footballers that we see week in, week out. I think any support that is given to them is
from New South Wales and even rugby union. They know the future of the game. I think rugby union's always known that, but rugby league's starting to recognise that. Where do you think Rad Raja and Mike Acevo and all these blokes have come from?
Yeah.
Shout out to Wes Nagama. He's the coach of that team. He's got a really good job out there. These kids are raw, man. Bit of coaching, probably in the next 6 to 18 months, and they're going to be. You're going to see about probably 5 or 6 of those kids come out and play some top line NRL.
100%. So congratulations to big shout out to all the Indigenous and Polynesian players, because without the game, blokes like me would probably still be playing, but you're too tough. So I'm gone. All right, it is time for, speaking of Polynesian players, Willie's Big Boys.
Willie's Big Boy.
Oh, I love that bit. It was a great weekend for the big boys this week. We've these. I think one of them's got a couple of points before, but these are 2 fresh ones. My 3 votes are going to Paul Vaughan. If you know the sort of what I'm going for is obviously who you're playing against. You play against Parramatta, arguably like top 4 in all categories in defence. You got Paulo there. You got RCG. The young kid Marnie, Brown. Good physical packs and guys coming off the bench, a real physical. Paul Vaughan, I think he led all the categories. I think he's like pretty much close to 200 metres, over 25 tackles, very efficient. And just that, that it was a brutal game, and he schooled them all. So I think him knowing that Big Reg and Paulo are probably ahead of him in the New South Wales sort of side, because he didn't play last year. He got one back on him. So good work for Vaughnie. 2 votes, Jared Hargraves. He'd usually be, the last 10 years, I think he's been one of the best players as a middle boy. Over 200 metres off the bench, over 30 tackles, tackle breaks. Like, he just set that tone. Like, coming off the bench, to change the game off the bench is massive. And that's what Robbo's probably been, that was probably his plan for him to do that. His minutes aren't going to be down. He's still going to get his 50-plus minutes, but what he's doing what he did out there, and Cronulla's a fair pack. They're very physical. They take it to you. So he did his job out there, and I can't go past David Fafita. You know what I mean? I was trying to go, was he playing in the middle? Did he do most of his damage in the middle? You know, I said, fuck it, who cares? The dude is just destructive. He's scoring 60-metre tries. He's just setting up tries. It's like he's playing with kids out there. So he's 1 point. So these guys are really, mate, it's hard to actually pick 3 players because I've always got to go, oh my God, who are they playing against? I'm not going to pick a guy who's played against a basic team. Look at Tom Burgess made over 260 metres, but I'm like, you know what? You took about 4 kickoffs and 3 dropouts. Easy 150 metres right there.
I'm actually glad. One of your greatest skills in life is to not actually read text messages or emails or anything that are sent to you and then responding to them. Andrew Fafita's written on this page as 1 vote, and it's been giving me ADHD because I've been looking at it going, are you going to give it for the high shot he put on in reserve grade? And you've just ignored it and just gone straight to David Fafita. So well done to you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Excellent work by the producer, not being able to get basic things right.
The leaderboard. Let's go to the leaderboard.
All
so Junior Paulo is on 6. Big Tino Fa'asul Maleawi is on 4. And 3 votes, Aden Fanua Blake. Feel sorry for him. He's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks.
He won't be winning.
Hopefully he gets back. Ryan Sutton's on 3. Big Papa's on 3. And Vaughany's on 3. So the race is getting tight.
And very soon we will be able to prepare the shirt that you're
winning.
winning.
There's a couple of prizes.
There's heaps of prizes. There's heaps of prizes. As soon as we get
when
all the prizes.
When are we going to announce that, producer?
Week after next.
So 2 weeks. We'll have... we'll get enough players and we'll get
we'll start.
some good sponsors. We're going good.
Well, what we have been going good at, but we didn't go good at last week was, of course, our bets that we are putting on thanks to bettingsite.com.au and our man, Harry. Harry.
Good evening, guys. How are we?
Harry.
I feel much better now your entire head's there. That's good.
Well...
We had a pre-production meeting and your entire head was missing. So
yeah,
now,
it's just good to be back around good people.
Yeah. You've changed the background too. Is that what?
Yeah, I'm actually up at Queensland Countryback Stadium tonight. So up in the mighty Townsville. So
there you go. Yeah,
you're the only one there. That's a great work.
That's why you got the cowboy shirt on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you got to dress the part. So.
How's your week been, mate?
Mate, flat out like a lizard drinking, watching a lot of football, trying to find some of the best bets for bettingsite.com.au. So I've had the DVR out, recording, rewinding, looking for little tidbits for the punters to get around.
Yeah, well, I think I've basically decided that my bet last week. I'll tell you what, when Nathan Cleary took that intercept pass,
I would have won. I didn't even know that.
Both Willie and I got knocked out with Nathan Cleary.
Come on, Cleary.
You know what? That made me feel sick. And I know everyone out at Penrith, he scored a try. You'd already run the game.
Won the game. I didn't know that. I was in Gundawindi.
Just drop it.
Oh, no.
Big one good story I did. My chin's better than yours, I did hear through the week. A gentleman had Brisbane to be trailing at half time by less than 10.5. And of course it was a 10-point game and Adam Reynolds kicks a 2-point field goal to lose his bet. So
they do. I mean, and for
those
everyone,
exotic markets.
Mate, everyone who's watching, please do not send abusive text messages to players if you lose your multi. Although I was tempted
I'm going to slide into Cleary's DMs right now.
Don't ever ruin my betting site bet again. So this week I have chosen, here we go. You can take one. Penrith 13+, so Nathan Cleary can take all the intercepts he wants. Gold Coast to cover the line because I just think Manly, I just think they're way too short. And the Raiders, I think, will beat the Eels. I think they'll bounce back when they actually have a fullback. And I've taken the Brumbies head-to-head.
All right, so Penrith 13+. I think that's the consensus. Big tick. I think the line for that game is 27.5 start. The bookies are giving them. So you like to think they're gonna cover the 13+ there. Gold Coast at the line, they're at the 7.5. Even though they're on the road, I think you'd like your chance to get there at the 7.5 line. They should beat the Sea Eagles. That game's actually out in Mudgee, so it's sort of a neutral venue.
Not even Lotto Land. There you go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Manly's taken a game there, back out to the central west of New South Wales. Like the Raiders too, a little stat. Parramatta haven't won there in 15 years. So
really?
What?
Yeah. Everyone
Stats,
talked about the Raiders and Dragons hoodoo, and the Dragons only went 13 years without winning there. So that's a big hoodoo for the Eagles to overcome.
Harry's
and then
the
the Brumbies
new
are
stats
flying
man.
at the moment.
Stat man.
Do you know what?
Harry.
We
Love
don't
it.
fact check anything, Harry. So you're now in charge of fact checking.
It's a lot of pressure.
We just make stuff up.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to my bet. The Dragons and Storm. What is this? Dragons and Storm.
No,
Rooster-
Dragons.
Yeah.
Then the Storm Roosters over 39.5. See what I mean? I just said he doesn't read it. He's literally staring at it and he just doesn't
We're
care.
making it up as we go along.
So he's gone, I'm going to read it out for him. Look, to be honest, William's not the best at punting. It's the one vice he doesn't have. So he's got the Dragons, he's got the Storm Roosters match over 39.5, which is considering two defensive sides. Anyway. Broncos, Panthers match over 43.5. Well, the Panthers will probably score that themselves, won't they? And then the Sea Eagles win the line. So the Sea Eagles have got to start. Well, we're going against each other.
Good.
Okay.
You've been very negative about his bet.
I still don't understand that first bit. Dragon Storm and
Okay.
Roosters match.
No, there's
What,
a line.
3 playing?
There's a
Yeah.
line.
Look,
So different games.
All right.
you're a former Sea Eagle, so you're backing them to go down in a close game. The Titans on the road this year haven't been crash hot. I think they played that game down in Canberra. They only against Canberra at Cogra. They only got 4 points. They could only score 1 try against the Warriors on the road. So they've got a little bit to prove on the road still. So that's a little bit game, but can see why you're going that way. For the Broncos Panthers to go over, you might even just get the Panthers to, contribute there. And that's every chance of going over.
Right.
To go over for the Roosters and the Storm, gutsy. The last 2 games that have been down there at Amy Park between these two sides, I think there was a 1-point win and a 3-point win for either side.
Not that confident now we talk about it.
Yeah. And
what's this paying? What is this behemoth of a bet from William paying? What are we going to win?
It's only at about $10.
That's still $500.
Yeah, so he's looking to win. He's looking to collect $502.
And who's that with? Because I know betting site go across all different. So who's giving us the best odds?
Yeah, the good folk at betting site have said get on to Ladbrokes. They're giving you the good odds there. So
do you know what I like too, Harry? Literally, Will and I have had opposite bets, and then you've had to be positive about like the same game with me tipping the Titans to cover the line.
But I think that's the thing.
That's well
I
done.
think you can make a case for both sides. Like Tom Trbojevic is back for Manly this week as well. So and they ground out a win last week. So you can kind of talk yourself into it. And I think the Dragons get the chocolates against the Warriors straight up as well. Weird thing, in the last 21 years, the Warriors have only beaten the Dragons 9 times. It's just a club historically they don't do well against for whatever reason it is. So
you've got splinters in your ass up there in Townsville. Now the producer, I actually like this.
I've seen
bet.
this horse.
I hate this. He's backed it before. Went nowhere, got nothing. But I actually like this. So in the Sydney Cup, which is the Sydney equivalent of the Melbourne Cup, he has backed Miami Bound. What do we got and who with?
Well, good focus at Ladbrokes, getting us 11-1 for Miami Bound.
That's not bad.
So, look.
What do you think?
I mean, the thing is as well with the Sydney Cup, it has had a history where it's thrown up some big odds winners, so it's not exactly a favourites race. There's a bit of rain predicted for Friday and Saturday, so maybe there's a bit of a wet track, come the time, that the Sydney Cup's run. So, look, there's every chance that Miami Bound gets up. I know that's going to really piss you off.
It does. It actually does. I want him to win because I want his money, but I just don't like the gloating. It's sickening.
I want it. I want to hear it.
You shut up too. So, all right, Harry, what do you got? What's betting site what are you going to bet on?
Look, the way I've gone, I'm just getting it up here. So I like the Panthers, the Rabbitohs, and the Dragons all at the line. So the Dragons at the -9.5 start. I like them to win by at least 10 against the Warriors. The Rabbitohs, that has blown out actually further than I thought it might. They've been they've got the 19.5 point start. I think they win by at least 20 against the Tigers. and I think the Panthers can win by 28 or more.
It's embarrassing.
I was tempted to take the Broncos at the line in that one, but purely on the fact that Penrith might put the Q in the rack, in the last half hour of the game, they might, let's get a comfortable lead.
No, they're not like that. They're not built like that.
And then Cowboys head to head. They're going to go 2 in a row. They get to play the Doggies up at home. Give something for all their loyal fans to cheer about. I think they're good things.
Will you be staying up there at Townsville Stadium in your rodeo shirt to watch the game, Harry? Or
I've packed my jeans to go to the Mad Cow afterwards. Then we're going to drive. We're going to drive north to Cairns. We're going to go to the Daintree after. It's going to be a big tour of the north.
So what are you winning?
Hopefully, I'll be pocketing $534.50.
Oh, how good! We're rich. We're rich. So we're going to be
which will give me one night at the casino.
No, it'll give us one night at the casino, Harold.
That's right.
Mate, thank you again. It has been a pleasure, as always, talking to you in the deep north of Townsville, pretending to be up there with your rodeo shirt on. Mate, thanks again. We really appreciate all the support from bettingsite.com.au. It's a good site. We probably need more of us on it, actually. I reckon that'd really bring traffic in because we're very handsome men. But, mate, we'll speak to you next week.
Absolutely. If you want to do it right, you got to get to Betting Site. Take care.
See you, mate.
See you, Harry.
Hey, William.
All right. Well, you got to bet right at Betting Site.
Do you know what else you got to do?
Definitely gamble responsibly.
We always do. I was waiting for that. All right. So I'm going to just quickly run through the tips. Actually, do I read them out? No one can.
I'll do mine.
Read them out. People can see them on the social media.
I'll just read them anyway. Panthers, Sharks, Storm, Titans, Rabbits, Raiders, Dragons, and Cowboys.
All right, I've tipped the Panthers, the Knights, the Storm, the Titans, the Rabbits, the Raiders, the Dragons, the Cowboys. Harry just done some tips. The producer has tipped the Broncos, the Sharks, the Roosters, the Seagulls, the Tigers, the Raiders, the Warriors, and the Bulldogs. So good luck to the producer this week. He's a prick. All right. This week's Willie Mason headline. I like this. Do you know what I like this? Because it takes me back to times when you've appeared in the press and it's made me laugh. So this one, was when. Should we give a bit of backstory? So basically, it's about when Hull KR, who, if you ever go to Hull KR, you'll probably get stabbed. I don't know if anyone's listening from Hull, but welcome to the world. It's nice in here. You should try it. So you signed a deal with Hull KR, and I will give the background of this before you tell the story. Basically, when you are signing with Super League have a certain number of players from overseas that they can sign, and that's it, so that they don't flood the side.
6 quotas.
There you go. So that includes only players from Australia and New Zealand. If you go in on a Samoan passport or a Tongan passport or a Fijian passport, you are not considered to be an overseas player because it's development countries or whatever. So Hull KR tried to have their cake and eat it too. They tried to sign Willie Mason at almost, still in the peak of your career, really. You're only 30 years old. Yeah. And they tried to sign you on a Tongan or a Samoan passport. So the headline is, Hull KR decide to release Willie Mason.
Yeah, release my ass. Well, that's the background of the story. They try to hedge their bets. They try to have their cake and eat it too, all that sort of shit. I'm not even sure who the CEO owner was. Not even. I would mention his name if I did.
Elon Musk.
But yeah, I went over there with all intentions of playing 3 years over there. I played 11, 12 years straight in Australia. Always thought in the back of my mind, when I'm 30. I'm out of here. I want to go and I want to do some traveling. I want to chill out. The NRL, I've had enough. You know what I mean? I've achieved everything in the game. Just want to go over there, enjoy my life. Probably play over there for another 5 or 6 years. Went over there fully as a franchise player, not as a quota player. Not this guy who's trying to beg for a deal and go, oh, I can get on my Tongan passport. You know what I mean? No, I was like their biggest signing in fucking Hull KR history.
They actually rolled you out during training. Remember that?
Mate, it
Like
was amazing. I mean,
they
the
sold
whole,
all their jerseys.
Mate, sold jerseys, did everything right. I was so pumped to play for Hull for the 3 years, and they fucked it. You know what I mean? They honestly did. They had some real average players over there, man. And they were on the quota. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to mention their names because they're good dudes. So it's 6 quota players. I come over as a player that I am.
Average.
With below average player. And, I wanted to play for 3 years, all this kind of stuff. Played, I think 8 games, 6, maybe 6 or 8.
5 games here,
says.
It
I think
says
6 games.
It says here, Mason's trip to Geelong after 5 appearances for Roses. And it also says here, this is from a
100% I played 6
BBC.
games. 6 games for Hull.
It says here, and I want to read this one out. I've got to find it. But it basically says you got man of the match in the first. Here we go. The Ford arrived at the club in March in a blaze of publicity. That's you. And made an immediate impact with a man of the match display in Rovers' 40-22 win over Crusaders. That's nice, isn't it, Will?
Yeah.
But his form quickly deserted him. There you go.
Form quickly deserted. You got to understand about this.
That's my favourite bit.
You got to understand about obviously British media and how the competition over there. You play in a lower side like Hull, you get fucking pounded by Wigan and St Helens and all the big dogs. And we played against those. We're all like whatever the Channel 9 equivalent is. We're all that because of me when I was over there. You know what I mean? We were on the Friday nights and all that kind of stuff. All the players were loving it because they used to playing at these shit time slots. And man, we were just having a great time sitting in the north of England. Had a great time with the club. All the good boys, everything like that. And then I played 6 games. I think I got 4 man of the matches out of 6.
Not according to this. It says your firm quickly deserted him. That's
well, who the fuck is writing that?
I don't know.
Who you work for the media, fuckwit?
I'm just reading it out. I'm just reading
it must be true then. No, I mean, it was just the way it is over there. Like you just try and obviously just imagine me, obviously after the run-ins that I've had with a lot of pommies in an international game, playing over there with not that much backup.
Yeah. I actually remember, because I spoke to you at the time when you were over there, and they've made this whole thing's made it out like you went out and you were searching Toulon. Like that, they kept saying to you, leave the country and come back in on a different passport. And you kept saying, I don't have another passport.
I don't have another passport. So these idiots didn't understand that. I come over as me being a current, like an NRL player and everything that I've achieved over here. I wasn't that bottom of the barrel sort of dude who was looking for a Tongan passport to have a crack at Super League. So they just go out of the country. So they deregistered me. Anyway, let's go back to the fucking story. So I'll play 6 games. Then they try to bring another playback. I think Dobson, who was there.
They deregistered
him because I come over because he was out for 12 weeks. They were thinking that I was going to get my Tongan passport, which I told, I don't have a Tongan passport.
Yeah.
Just because I went over there and applied for one doesn't mean I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Could happen in I didn't get it till 3 years after.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? So I went over there in good intentions just to go and play there and play some good rugby league for Hull. And then, so I get deregistered because Dobson come back. So they expected me just to sit on the sidelines and they even go, can you go and play for another club? Because they could do that to players over there. You can go on to loan to some other. Who the fuck do you think I am?
Yeah.
I'm not one of these bottom of the fucking scrap heap players. Do you know what I mean? No, I'm a quota player. I didn't come over here saying that I'm going to, come over here on my Tongan passport. There was an option. There is a chance I might get it because I can actually get one. They're like, oh, he's going to get one. No, I was never going to fucking get one in time. You know what I mean? I just went over there as a player. So they deregistered me thinking I was just going to hang around in fucking Hull and just do nothing by myself. Didn't have my partner or anything over there with me. And then actually go leave the country and go back to Tonga or something and try and get the passport. They're just delusional.
Yeah.
Fucking delusional. I'm like, you know what? And I did nothing but just sit around for another 4 or 5 weeks. And people think that I took all their money. I was their highest paid player. I could have taken them for everything because they did wrong by me.
Yeah.
I took 3 months' salary because I was there for 3 months, and then Toulon come knocking on the door, and I just had a meeting with those guys going, look, this ain't going to work. You keep all your money. Go buy whatever you can with that. Let me go to Toulon. End of story.
Yeah. And the thing that annoys me about that whole thing is that literally now still there are people that a big Hull KR supporters
Have no fucking idea.
who think that you have done the wrong thing. The club itself, and this is 100% true because obviously I was speaking to you regularly during that whole process. Hull KR did the wrong thing by expecting you to have a Tonga passport, and then all of a sudden it makes it look like you're money hungry and you're going over to Toulon. You were unemployed. They deregistered you. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
So,
and they thought that I took all their money. I did the right thing by Hull. I could have sat there for another 2 or 3 years. I signed that contract and got every single cent out of them.
Yeah.
But this is what happens when you talk, fans of any team sport, they're just one-eyed, dumb, uneducated idiots. And that was most of their supporter base.
do you know what? You genuinely almost won over all of Hull KR supporter base until that last minute, and then.
But
I
not
think
all of them. I'm just saying,
you're
like,
back. You can't go to Hull again.
But the amount of shit that I cop from fucking some of those supporters, I don't give a shit because they know the truth. You know what I mean? So like I know the truth. They don't. If they want to listen to this, listen to it. This is how it went down.
They liked you.
Most of them are genuine blokes, seriously, because they understand. I'm not backtracking or anything. That's the way I feel about most supporters.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Fact check, Willie was right. 6 games for Hull.
6 games, exactly.
Really?
6 games.
Oh, the producer's actually done something, sitting up there like a dickhead doing
No,
that.
I mean, supporters of the game just see one track mind and they just think players are greedy. Fuck, man, I was doing you a favour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
Neil Hudgell, that's his fucking name. What
Hello,
a
Neil.
piece of shit.
Hello, Neil. Nice to
Hey,
see
Neil,
you, Neil.
nice work. You probably fucked that club up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know much about Hull KR, but I know
he's
that
terrible bloody
I do remember
general
saying
manager or
to you,
CEO. Like, shit like that pisses me off, man. I'm retired. I can say what the fuck I want.
I remember saying to you at the time, if you've got a choice to live in the south of France versus Hull, I know what I'd be
Yeah,
taking.
what are you going to do?
Anyway, hello to everyone in Hull.
I
all right.
love all you Hull people. It's all good.
That concludes another series of, not a series. I was going to say series, and then the producer yelling at me. I was going to do all the live tweeting. Relax. It concludes this episode. We're going to live tweet again because everybody loves our tweeting. We're so good at it, Will.
It's actually all right, isn't it?
I think
Maybe.
so. I think we're quite good at it. What game are we going to tweet?
All right, let's have a think. Well, I won't be in Gundawindi or anything like that. I think we should do...
Won't be Saturday because it's your birthday.
Oh, yeah, jeez. We'll be out. We'll be out.
We're
what
out.
about Storm and the Roosters? Perfect.
Friday night?
Friday night.
Oh no, I'm out Friday night. We'll talk about it. You know what we're going to do? We're going to put somewhere. We're tweeting about when we're going to tweet. This is good. This is the Matrix.
We'll do the Cowboys and Bulldogs.
So thank you. It's a good game. Thank you. Who put that on the Sunday game? Honestly.
Yuck.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know. Keep it posted.
Rate, review, and subscribe. Someone else did another review thing.
Yeah.
Said you're good. I'm
Well,
not.
don't be like my mum and give us 1 star.
Oh, Willie. Just good fingers. Look, I think that everyone who rates and reviews.
Wrap it up.
Okay, bye.
Back in the NRL is Willie Mason.
I've forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie had the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Plus. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
You've been listening to The Take with Willie Mason and co-host Ian Byrne. Produced by Craig Trewick, recorded and engineered by Zig Parker of Green Room Sydney, and presented by the Handshake